Are you someone who has on-premise experience and wondering whether that would be useful for in cloud or whether you would be able to use that information to learn cloud quickly? Then this is the video for you. My name is Ashish and I'm a cybersecurity leader who is passionate about teaching people about cloud security and helping them get that dream job in cloud security. So if you are someone who has on-premise experience, you primarily fit into two buckets. One is you probably are a developer or you're a sysadministrator. Let's cover one at a time. The first scenario where you're a developer in on-premise, you could be someone who has been developing code for years on-premise and you understand how the application can be developed inside an on-premise environment and what kind of networking challenges you would have, or coding challenges you would have. Now, in a cloud environment, you would notice you don't have that much of a steep learning curve. However, you would find that a lot of things that you had to reach out to other people for back in the on-premise days, in a cloud environment, most cloud service providers have a service which you can use instead of you having to reach out to, say, a DevOps person or another person to reach out to. So I would definitely check out those services, which may be handy. For example, maybe look at serverless functions. They're a good example of maybe a bit advanced for some people, but definitely something which is changing the way people are deploying application in production in a cloud environment. You would still have to understand the cloud environment is primarily, say, a world of microservices, API, CI/CD pipeline, DevOps framework. And if depending on how advanced the company that you're going into, they might be doing everything fully automated. So as a developer, you might just go into your, say, GitHub or a GitLab or Bitbucket repository, develop your code, you commit, and the moment you commit and your pull request is approved, it goes all the way into production automatically. You're basically rolling into production in a minute's notice kind of a thing, right? So change management is very different for someone who's coming from an on-premise environment. If you are someone who's probably moving into a cloud environment, which is kind of like halfway, which is not that advanced in terms of it's not that automated, has a very similar feel to an on-premise world where you reach out to a DevOps person and they build the infrastructure for you, then you would notice that it's not that big a learning curve for you. However, I would still recommend to kind of give yourself that head start for, say, the next 5 years. Definitely check out some of the certifications that are given by each of these popular cloud service providers for developers specifically. I'll leave a link in the description for Amazon, Azure, and Google Cloud, their developer certifications. So that's kind of where you would find yourself, I guess, in the cloud world if you're a developer. Now, if you are a system administrator in the on-premise world, what you would realize, there's basically two dramatic changes that would suddenly happen for you. One is from a networking side and the other is from a server side. I'll talk about each of them. From a networking perspective, the cloud service provider has data centers that are there all across the world, right? So what that means is, you know how on your on-premise world where if someone was to ask you, hey, Ashish, can you help me get this application? I can't access it. You just give them an IP address and they'll load it up. It's a private IP address within your company's data center network. No one else from the outside can access it. That unfortunately is kind of not possible in the cloud world. It's, as I said earlier, it's a world with APIs, microservices, API gateway. It's a world where it's a lot of load balancers, a lot of virtual machines, which are ephemeral. Talking about virtual machines, servers themselves are very ephemeral. Well, it's not a good practice to be following IP addresses as a way to identify a server. It's usually their name or their purpose. I would recommend checking out the whole pets versus cattle discussion that people talk about and why that's applicable for a cloud environment. Now, if you're someone who's in an on-premise world and now are being introduced to cloud, you would notice a few changes. From a networking perspective, your data center is outside your on-premise data center, which means you need to find some kind of direct connectivity, whether it's an OpenVPN or a high fiber optic connection that you would have between your data center and the cloud's data center. That's one aspect of networking to make it more private, but it's still technically on the internet. So you kind of have to think about from that networking perspective, everything on the internet, and you kind of have to find a way to configure them the right way so you don't expose any services that should not be on the internet. From a server perspective, there are a lot of services that the clouds of the world are providing where you don't even have to think about the server, the patching. I know I said patching because no one wants to do patching ever, but as a security person, I wanted to call it out. So there are services that are available in cloud where you don't have to think about patching for a server. The server is managed by your cloud service provider, whoever it may be. You can look at things like container services or serverless or even Lambdas, or if you're into AWS or functions in Azure or Google Cloud as well. They are some of the, I guess, newer kind of compute that, remember in on-premise days when you had to wait for a new hardware to be available, you wait months before you can increase your memory, your storage, because you want the hardware to be available. All that goes away in cloud. It only takes you a few minutes and you could have a server up and running in Tokyo sitting from Australia, or have a server in India compared to, I guess, if you were starting in US. That's the speed we're talking. And that also gives you a few challenges. Now you've been introduced into this world from all years of on-premise experience of building SaaS servers, building virtual machines, building networks. You can still transform that, but the learning curve for how different networks are going to be a bit more steeper curve compared to, say, a developer role, because you have to think about network between a AWS and an Azure world. Let me give you an example so you understand. In a traditional on-premise world, if you have a network, if you have two servers in that same network, they would talk to each other automatically because they are in a network. In AWS, if you have two servers in a network, they do not talk to each other automatically. There you go. I'm going to leave you with that difference. Obviously, it's different for Azure and Google Cloud. It's not the same as AWS and Google Cloud and Azure. They have a concept of region, and this is going into detail of this, probably not the scope of this video, but I'll definitely do another video. If you guys want me to do one, leave a comment and I'll do a video on that as well. So networking is that different. Virtual machines, they're more ephemeral, as I mentioned. So you may have different names for different cloud providers for what they're called, but you can deploy a virtual machine either by going into a console, clicking a few buttons and just, rolling off a new machine if you want, or you can go down the path of automation, say things like Terraform, Chef, Ansible. There's a lot more infrastructure as code that's going around. You can use that as a way to develop code. Now, that would be a difference between someone who's an experienced cloud DevOps person versus a non-experienced, probably a new person who has experience in on-premise, so they understand what virtual machines are and the right questions to ask if you're trying to identify how do I connect these boxes. So you'll be fine from that perspective. But where you might struggle is, hey, what is a virtual machine called in AWS versus Azure? Or how do I connect two boxes in AWS versus Azure? Like, those are the kind of questions you might have to have that steep learning curve. But fortunately, there are a lot of courses you can do with the cloud service providers. And if you're wondering which cloud service provider to go for, I did a video recently, so I'm going to leave a link for on the top or probably in the description, and it would help you decide on which cloud service provider you go for. But the bottom line is you probably should go for the most popular one or the one that your company is already using. So, you can use their help to understand how do you get around the cloud. The other kind of scenario could be you're in an environment where the cloud is exactly the same as your on-premise environment. Now, this is good for now, but I would recommend you move to the more automation, DevOps that kind of data center approach in a cloud for two reasons. One, it's a good practice because that's the reason why cloud got popular, because everything can be automated. And second, remember the developer conversation that I had just now where they're talking about APIs, microservices, all that would be a request that you might receive if you are in an environment where you are the DevOps team. And by the way, there's no sysadmin role in a cloud environment. There's only DevOps, cloud engineers, cloud architects. Like, that's the kind of roles you would find. Again, I can do another video on that, but how does this go for this one? If you are in that kind of an on-premise replica in cloud, I would recommend moving more to an automated environment, or maybe try and make your current environment more automated. Because if you're looking at 5 or 6 years, or maybe even 10 years into the future, that's a skill set that would be really handy for you in the cloud space. I hope this video was helpful, and if you really liked it, please hit the like button, hit subscribe. We do videos like this every week where we go live stream and talk to people about how do they do cloud security in their AWS, Azure, Google Cloud environment. And if you like videos like this, where we talk about some education around cloud and cloud security, feel free to leave us a comment and we'll create more content for you. Otherwise, I'll see you next time, and stay safe. Peace.